Because basically, some people are like, hey, if you want to do this stuff, do it at home or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And some people are like, inject it into the kids' veins at 2, whatever, right? But there's some people that the areas where the schools aren't going to teach all the butt sex and stuff like that, they basically have like private tutors are popping up. And they sent me one. It's like a woman, and she does like Zoom classes to teach sex ed to kids like ages 3 to 21. And basically, but like, how funny is it? Your kid like setting your like 6-year-old up on this Zoom class, and she goes, if there is no group class option currently, or if you think a private one-on-one session would fit better, we can accommodate your child by having private, personalized virtual classes over Google Meet. It's an independent sex and sexuality educator. Their classes are inclusive and queer, gender diverse, body positive, fat positive, sex positive, evidence informed, and not abstinence only, blah, blah. So you basically sign up, and the brackets is early as 3, and then you do a Zoom class with this
to learn how to masturbate.
But to learn how to masturbate, it's essentially the Zoom classes with the gay masculinity class, right? But the funny part is like fat positive, so it's like you're basically like got your like 5-year-old sitting there and just like in his chair, like eating fruit snacks. Well, this person's like, now, there's nothing wrong with the guy you're banging being 200 pounds, Like
what?
Some ladies that you're going to be eating out, there's going to be a little smelly down there because they're fat, all right?
I don't get why this is. Why can't the type of parent who would be so into this, you'd think could just do it at that point? You could just.
That's what I think too.
You're so into this that you would go to this length, so then you're into this.
It is probably better that if you want to do this wacky shit, you're on Zoom.
Dude, you know how many like fucking...
No, but this is going to keep some of the real pervs out, because like if you're like a real top tier, like someone, again, anything where you're like, hey, you get to teach sex to kids is going to have a fucking little bit of a influx of some of the pervs, right?
Yeah.
So you go, if you keep them on Zoom, that is a sort of a good way to like fend against that.
I guess.
Like, well, imagine you're like, this is a guy doing it, and you're like, I'm sending my kid to, the sex ed guy. It's like, it's in this guy's basement, and we just drop him off. It's
now he's in his basement, but it's over Zoom. So
better to keep on Zoom.
Bridge that gap there. It is kind of weird that he's paying us to teach the kids, but
this should be no guys allowed. That's for sure. There's no, like, dude, if you're like a grown man and you're like, I teach people's kids how to masturbate. It's like, come on, buddy. I'll tell you, it's the girls. It's a little weirder, but like,
but then the guy goes, I'm not a guy.
It will turn you off sex, because how they say that like people that are sex educated are less likely to, get pregnant early or whatever like that. I'll tell you what, if I had like some 400-pound like, buzz cut lady sort of teaching me how to masturbate, I honestly might, it's like smoking the pack of cigarettes. Honest to God, I might sit there and be like, I'm honestly just might be asexual.
Yeah, I don't.
And she goes, we have a course for that.
We have a course for that too, and there's nothing wrong with you, and you are valid.
Yeah, because I guess they give them the pointers, and then after they masturbate, they go, how'd it go? You treat yourself?
Felt good.
Imagine if I was like 11 years old, even if I had to teach them, the guy's like, okay, so you're going to want to be stroking yourself tonight. And I'd just be like, Mom, I don't want to be in Zoom sex ed with this fucking freak.
Crazy.
This is what I think. They basically need to do both, right? Because they're trying to go too far one way, right? Where they go, listen, we're going to have, your 8-year-old or whatever, and they're going to learn all about sex, and we're going to teach them about, like, how it's good to be fat, and,
all the stuff,
ethical, we want you to read The Ethical Slut and all that stuff. They should also have half of the teachers be, like, total bros. You know what I mean? Like, basically, they should have, like, they have drag queen story hour. They should have, like, a dude that comes in and reads the fucking game to the kids. You know what I mean?
I like that, yeah.
Like the girls get to go to this girl, and the dudes get like some dude that's RFK in his prime coming in,
being like, yeah.
Oh, and the kids like all have to howl in unison. Okay, kids.
Yeah, that's too much. These are the toxic masculinity people.
But that's what I'm saying. They should fight it. They should have to be like a guy that's going to even it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much business is
like there should have be like, this is my curriculum is like fat positivity and queer abstinence or queer diversity, and then the other guy goes, my criteria is negging, kicking them out in the morning,
fingers out, everybody, let's smell them,
isolating
all that stuff. Just all the tricks. Balance it out. You got to do. It's a well-rounded child.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you do like 5 minutes of fat masturbation, and then you do 5 minutes of peacocking.
Everybody, pull out your deck of cards. We're gonna learn some tricks.
Exactly.
Just like a deck of cards.
That's the only way to counter it. You know what I mean?
Way, yeah.
So the kids get a well-rounded education, and whichever way they lean towards.
Right. Whatever the cards.
You end up probably with a guy that's like a pickup artist, but he's inclusive pickup artist.
He's a very respectful pickup artist.
Very respectful pickup artist. He doesn't care if you're 600 pounds. He'll still pick you up.
Yep.
Not obviously physically.
No. That's a different class.
So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
The students, parents set a time. It's 1 hour session, $65. So it's 65 bones if you want to put your kid in the masturbation seminar.
I don't understand why the parents wouldn't do this though.
Because they don't want to. It's awkward.
How could it? But you're that type of parent.
You're that. I don't want to teach my kids about masturbation.
But I would never sign my kids up for this shit.
It's funny, the fat parents sending them to camp where the kids come and they're getting taught that like being fat's actually pretty cool.
There used to be a thing called fat camp.
Yeah, it's a different fat camp.
Yeah, fat camp now is they're just like,
fat camp now they walk in and they go
like that, and then you leave 100 pounds heavier.
You just walk in one door and out the other door they go, you were perfect. $100.
Like remember there was like a thing in movies and stuff in the 80s was like the fat kid camp.
Yeah, that is wild.
They were always the foils.
Did they work, you think? Because the gay conversion camps apparently don't work all that great. I wonder if fat camp works.
I don't know. I mean, literally all fat camp was, as far as I understand, was like you go there and then because you're like away from anything, they're just like you're in prison. Like they're like, here's your food. You don't get, and then they make you exercise. So you're like, you have to lose weight because there's just not food for you. There's only like a set amount of food, but then once you leave there, you just go back to
be honest, that would be good for me if I just got like a set portions, because my only thing is like just eating too big of portions.
Yeah, for sure. If you're on like an island and you're stuck and
here's your portion.
Yeah, and you go, okay, yeah, I have no option other than this, and yeah, you'll lose weight for sure.
So if you're looking for a job at the job fair, one of the options is teaching kids.
Yeah. You think there's like a guidance counselor who's like, some kids like, I don't know what I could do. And they're like, well, I see you have purple hair. Have you ever considered masturbation counselor for 4-year-olds?
If you're at the job fair and that'd be so funny if you go to when they do those, they used to do those things where you would do the aptitude test. And tell you what it was. And one guy gets truck driver, the other guy gets,
He goes, you were exemplary on the grip strength test. So I think
masturbation teacher to kids
for you.
That's the perfect job for you.